I'm 92 years old, and I don't have many quiet mornings left. So I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to inspire you. I'm here because I have one honest confession to make, and I don't want you to carry it the way I did.
Mhm.
You probably believe what I used to believe, that you'll finally feel full inside. You'll finally feel like you belong in your own life. But that isn't how it works. Some people reach the top and they still feel hollow, and they don't even understand why. If you looked at my life from the outside, you would have called it a good life. I had a respectable career. I woke up early. I wore clean clothes. I kept my hair neat. I paid my bills on time. People came to me for advice.
Sad
Some even
and
admired me.
slow.
I
I
married.
thought
I
if I
became a mother.
kept moving, if I kept doing the next thing, if I kept being strong, then maybe one day, without warning, the emptiness would disappear. But it didn't. It stayed, quietly, like a shadow that never left the room. And today, at 92, I finally understand why I felt empty all those years. And I want you to hear it now, before life makes you learn it the hard way. Because the truth is, sometimes the emptiness doesn't come from having nothing. Sometimes it comes from carrying everything. Life before the realization. If you looked at my life from the outside, you would never guess. People said I was blessed. People said I was lucky. People said I had everything. A home, a family, a routine that looked stable, a name people respected. I wasn't famous, I wasn't rich, but I was respectable. And in my time, that was everything. I woke up early, before the rest of the house. I'd sit for a few minutes in the quiet, not because I was peaceful, but because that was the only time no one needed me. Then I would stand, and my day would begin. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, school uniforms. Then work. Sometimes it was a small job. Sometimes it was something I did from home. Sometimes it was just helping someone else's work. But I worked. I always worked. Because I believed a woman proves her worth by how much she can carry without collapsing. I carried everything quietly. I didn't complain much. Not because I was brave, but because I thought that was maturity. I thought that was what strong women did. Strong women don't cry. Strong women don't ask for help. Strong women don't say, "I'm tired." Strong women keep going, even when their heart is begging them to stop. So I kept going. I cooked. I cleaned. I showed up to school events. I remembered birthdays. I bought gifts. I packed lunches. I folded clothes at night while everyone slept. And I tried very hard to be a person others could rely on. Not because it made me happy, but because I didn't know who I was without being useful. That is a strange thing to say, isn't it? But it is true. I was always doing, and somehow everyone saw me as complete. But inside, there was a quiet space in me that never filled. Not sadness exactly, not depression, just a strange absence. Like I was living in a well-furnished house, but one room was always cold. And no matter how much I decorated the rest of the house, that cold room never warmed up. I didn't have words for it back then, so I did what most people do when something inside them feels wrong. I kept moving, because movement is easier than honesty. Movement makes you feel productive, but honesty makes you feel exposed. So I stayed busy, and I called it life. The turning point didn't come with dramatic music. It came with a simple sentence from a doctor. said in a calm voice, like it was just another Tuesday. It was a hospital room, a thin blanket that never feels warm, a small clock ticking too loudly. That clock, I still remember that sound. Tick, 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 as if it was counting my life. My daughter was sitting near the window. She was trying to look calm, but her eyes kept drifting away, like she couldn't bear to look at me for too long. She kept touching her fingers together, little nervous movements. And I remember thinking, when did my little girl become the one trying to be strong for me? And the doctor stood there with my papers. He didn't say, "You're going to die." He didn't need to. He said something like, "We need to prepare for a different chapter now." That's what doctors say when they're trying to be kind. But in my bones, I understood it. I understood what he was really saying. I walked out of that hospital, but something in me didn't walk out. Because mortality stopped being an idea, it became a schedule. Appointments, tests, medicines, warnings, and suddenly, the lie I had been living with my whole life began to crumble. Not all at once, slowly, like an old wall breaking quietly. And I realized something that shook me more than the illness itself. I had spent decades preparing for life and very little time actually living it. The terrifying realization. Here is the terrifying truth I realized. I wasn't really living. I was completing tasks. I was chasing stability. I was checking boxes. I was waiting for permission to feel alive. And the cruel thing is, I didn't even know I was waiting. I used to tell myself, one day I'll rest. One day I'll travel. One day I'll spend more time with people. One day I'll do something just because it makes me feel human. But I didn't say one day. I said later. Later. That word ruined my life in the softest way. Because later doesn't feel dangerous. It feels responsible. It feels mature. It feels like you have a plan. But later is a trap. It keeps you empty while you're busy building a life you rarely enjoy. And maybe you do that too. You tell yourself,